Hello gamers! We just finished Atlantis. We did it out of order. We finished Ragnarok, then I wanted to clear Atlantis. This is the Elementalist. Elementalist is Earth and Storm Mastery. We are level 45 and we have some pretty nice gear. Let's quickly go over our gear pieces. By now you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about the Holy Trinity, but we did again use what I call the Holy Trinity. Hallowed Hat, Stonebinder's Cuffs, and the Golden Scarab on your amulet. Those three are something I love to play with. The first thing you get is the Stonebinder's Cuffs. Stonebinder's Cuffs always gives plus to skills. On normal it's +1, on epic it's +2, and legendary it's +3. Besides that, the Stonebinder's Cuffs always gives elemental resists, and you can see here our roll is rigid, which is 8 pierce res in addition to the implicit. On Stonebinder's Cuffs, since I usually use this for a long time, I put a Amun-Ra's Glory on first. Amun-Ra's Glory is health, energy, and percentage multiplier of both of those. You can force it into Vit Res if you need more Vit Res. I think that's what we did. And then once you get to Act 5, there's a lot of builds that will use the Primal Magma. That's what we have here. The Elementalist does, in our case, we're using actual fire spells, so getting the fire and burn damage is pretty juice. And then we got really lucky with the completion bonus, 20% additional fire damage, which is really, really nice. So that's your Stonebinder's Cuffs. We can go to the Hallowed Hat next. Hallowed Hat is the same kind of deal with the plus skills, except for it doesn't scale on epic and legendary, so it's always +1. But the implicit on here is Vit Res plus skills and some health regen. This one didn't roll with any additional suffix, and so same kind of deal with this. Early on, we needed some health, so I had Amun-Ra's Glory on there. But then later, I was using slots that I couldn't put a rigid carapace on, so I put Hag Skin with double pierce completion bonus on it. So this isn't the most ideal charm for the hat, but we did need the pierce res, so the Hag Skin with pierce res is pretty nice. And then lastly, for the Holy Trinity, we've got Spellbound Beads. Spellbound we got really, really lucky early in Act 1 and sold all of our gear to buy these Spellbound Beads. Spellbound is percent elemental damages, percent energy, and minus energy cost. Now, we did have other amulets. We did have Ritual Hormos. Sometimes I like to use this for, fighting demons and magical. And then we have like an Occult Medallion. I think ideally this might be a little better, the Occult Medallion. The percent energy and minus energy cost is also really nice, but the casting speed here is really, really good on the Occult Medallion. I just didn't swap over our charm. Couldn't really pull the trigger for, 4% more damage. That's basically why. But also I had some defensive medallion as well. The Honor Guard's charm, Pierce Res, Stun Res, and 11 armor. And ideally going into Epic, that's probably what we'll swap to. On our second page, you can see we're only at 25 stun res, so getting a bit more stun res is wise. But yeah, then you put the Golden Scarab on here for the final plus skills. The Golden Scarab is an Act 2 and Eternal Embers charm that you can get in the outdoor areas by killing a beetle. The forced completion bonus is plus the skills, so super, super nice source. That's +3 to all skills in normal difficulty. Quite easy to get. You just need to be level 30 for the Golden Scarab. Okay, so that's the Holy Trinity. We can look at our weapon next. Staff of the Magi. I recommend this for almost every fire build. It's super easy to get. And if you're not auto-attacking, you can keep this the entire playthrough for the 30% fire damage and minus recharge. We are just casting basically one spell, and we're not auto-attacking. So then naturally on this weapon you put the Prometheus's Flame. Ideally you get an additional fire damage bonus, but we got the damage to demons and I didn't feel like farming, so you can see here this thing is pretty sick. Okay, so that's our weapon. Let's look at our chest piece next. Robes of Elemental Fury. We got some Ele Res on this thing, skill disruption protection, 20% elemental damages. That alone is why we're using it. This is a very offensive based chess piece. It has 18 intelligence, some energy regen, and a big chunk of DA. So this thing, we got pretty lucky here. Ideally, you would like some, like, maybe health on your chest piece and maybe some pierce res, but I'll settle for the damage instead. When we go to epic difficulty, there's plenty of upgrades that we can farm for. Up next, we have our boots. We got lucky with the Wraps of Erebus. The Erebus are sweet because it's 76% poison res, and that is the entirety of our poison res. It has 20 dexterity, some energy regen, defensive ability, and some movement speed. You always want movement speed on boots. And before these boots, we were wearing... I love movement speed on boots, so I look out for the movement speed wherever possible. This is of campaigning. Of campaigning is 30% movement speed, and then stout is some armor. But then also the Hermes sandal is more movement speed plus poison res. We were cruising with those boots. With our Erebus on, we have 112 move speed. With this on, we're at 145. So that's really, really nice. But you can see our poison's only at 20. This is the entire source of our poison res. So it's really, really nice. Okay, so that's our boots. We have our jewel ring. We already went over spellbound beads. Let's see, so the occult jewel of essence. This thing is huge. So occult starts rolling at like level 35. That's when you can wear it, level 35. But you can get it like as soon as you step into Act 4, which is Immortal Throne. And so that's kind of what we were looking for. We just farmed a little bit. So occult is percent elemental damages, some energy regen, and casting speed. Casting speed is really, really big for this build because you want to either... Ideally, you're casting ice shards with storm. I wanted to play it slightly different and use flame surge. We'll go over that in just a second. But since you're casting spells and not attacking with your weapon, you want to scale your casting speed. And so you can see here we're up to 265%. The cap is 300%, so we're not too far away from the cap. And it's not super important to be capped. You do just want to be at right around 200%, and that's totally fine. But yeah, so the occult gets you there very easily, and I showed you an occult amulet earlier that we could have swapped to basically overcap our speed. And then on this, we put some defensive charm. We put the Demon's Blood. That's our source of stun res right now. And I was going to farm for more stun res because you can get a double stun res Demon's Blood, and that is just huge. You can get like 50. I think it's 56% total stun res on, 50% stun res on one charm. But alas, we did not. I was weak and didn't farm. Our other ring is, again, another occult amulet or another occult ring. The occult ring of vitality. Vitality is the health. Occult, again, is the elemental damage and the casting speed. Now, this, we put on Monkey King's Trickery. We're not actually applying the reduction to resistance, but we do get elemental res and the skill disruption, and the force completion bonus is always pierce res, so... We did need a little bit of pierce res. I like to aim for right around 40 for all resist, other than vit res. So we kind of hit the mark pretty well on this, and our Monkey Trickery got our pierce res just over the 40 mark, which is nice. We kind of got unlucky for a long time. We were using just a defensive artifact, the Song of the Serpent. This is percent poison damage, which we're not getting any benefit out of. The armor is like fine. It's 14 armor. Now this is global armor, so it's 14 armor for every armor slot. So it's kind of nice, but we're mages, so we don't really care about armor actually too much. The main reason I was using this was the pierce res and the poison. We got pretty lucky for the completion bonus on the Song of Serpent. It gave 95 health. That's kind of nice. So you can kind of see this juices up our pierce res a little bit, and our poison res as well. So we were using that very early on, and then later on we got finally got enough materials to build the Cinderbolt. Cinderbolt is damage oriented. We have 14% fire, 14% burn. This also has some pierce res on it, which is nice. 12% pierce res. It has some dexterity, health, and energy, and then we got a cold res completion bonus. So pretty solid piece. There's plenty of way better ones that we can get and we're going to build into later, but we just didn't get anything to drop. Okay, so that's our gear. let's go ahead and go into our skills. This is a pretty easy build to follow. We started with Storm Mastery first. I would recommend, if you're going to follow along, to do the same thing. The big skill here in Storm Mastery to level with is Squall. So you basically, level up to tier 1 abilities, put 1 point in Storm Nimbus, and then climb for Squall. You max out the base of Squall, and you can just kill hordes of monsters. Now, bosses is just a little bit slower, but because you're killing so many, trash monsters like so quickly, you level up very fast. So max this out. The next thing you do in Storm Mastery is you climb to level 16 tier abilities, and you max out Static Charge. This multiplies lightning damage. Squall is all lightning damage, so these two go really well together. Storm Nimbus only boosts your pet's attack damage and your weapon attack damage, so you really only need 1 point here. I'm not boosting cold damage yet or at all. I don't think I'll be doing cold damage at all in this build, so we've skipped Heart of Frost completely. And then the only other thing I'm planning on taking is we'll take Lightning Bolt later. Lightning Bolt is a really nice single target, and then Chain Lightning obviously adds more AoE or cleave. So we'll pick that up. And then what we're working on currently is we just picked up Wisp. Wisp is really important because it gives you a super nice buff. With our current skill point allocation, we are at 9 out of 8, which is only +1. But you can see he'll give you... This Wisp will give you a buff that does 110% more elemental damages. It'll give you cold and lightning res, so that's really, really nice. And basically all he needs to be is in combat, so your Wisp just needs to be in combat, and he'll buff you basically on cooldown. So it lasts for just about a minute, and the cooldown is just super minimal. So yeah, it's like almost permanently up, which is really nice. We did 1 point Storm Surge. This is chance of when you get hit, it's an activation. It's not retaliation and it's not reflection. When you get hit, you have a chance to proc cold and lightning damage. So you can scale this damage by scaling cold and lightning damage or elemental damage. So this thing is nice. We only have 1 point, and it is worth maxing eventually because you are going to get hit, and this will go off. So it's pretty nice. Another thing we 1 pointed, this is cold and lightning absorption, 25% absorption. Absorption is really, really nice. It happens before resistances, so it's another layer, and it won't show up. Obviously, it won't show up in your resistance tab because it's not resistance, it's absorption. So keeping this blue bubble up was really, really nice. We did also pick up 1 point in Freezing Blast. Freezing Blast just controls mobs, freezes them in place so you don't get charged a ton, and you just put your Squall down or like blow them up with your fire spells. Okay, so that's Storm Mastery. We will pick up Arc Discharge and maybe Lightning Dash, depends. This is like a utility. In our build, this will be a utility, like to dash around. We're not really auto-attacking at all. So, but yeah, that's Storm Mastery. Let's go ahead and go over Earth Mastery. Earth Mastery, our main attack spell is Flame Surge. Now, say what you will about Flame Surge, it does have its uses, and we did run into some problems that I knew about, and there was one scenario, probably two scenarios, that you should respec into Ice Shards, but for the majority, we're using Flame Surge. We maxed all of it out. Now, to make it have 0 cooldown, you need to +2 barrage. You need to +2 barrage. That means there's no cooldown. Minus 5.1 second recharge. That's at +3. So the default cooldown is, I think it's 5 seconds or 4.8. And so having it at +2 means there's no cooldown. So this is what it looks like with all our cast speed. This is insane. So this is what Flame Surge looks like. And you can cast it basically all day. So you spend all your points in this. Once you're available, you buff up Earth Enchantment. Earth Enchantment maxed out, or it's like 140% fire damage. We're missing the +4, so we're only at 130% fire and burn damage. But again, so we're multiplying these, all 7 of these projectiles. They do 50 to 7 fire damage plus 130% multiplication. Then when the wisp is up, that's another 110% multiplication, right? So it just all adds together. And you can see we didn't even pick up stone skin. We didn't pick up brimstone. I'm not dealing any physical damage. This burn damage only procs on weapon attacks, so we can skip it for now. We do pick up heat shield. Heat shield is really, really nice. This is, again, absorption for fire damage. It also gives you 15% physical resist. You just basically don't want to skip this at all. You can level with Ring of Flame instead of Squall. That's totally fine. I did not in this scenario. I have a Ring of Flame guide. I have a couple of build guides on Ring of Flame, but yeah, basically just max out Ring of Flame. Soften metal too if you want, but we didn't go that route. And then yeah, so we're just climbing the bar. Our next big ability is Volatility. This is chance of fire and burn multiplication. Physical damage too, but we're not dealing with that. So 33% chance, and this is a big multiplier. So once we get here, you do not want to skip it. We have another nuke spell called Eruption. This sends out fire fragments. And again, we're multiplying fire damage so easily, so this is just going to hit so hard. And then finally, our level 40 abilities. I won't play with Meteor Rain. It just costs too much mana and misses so frequently. But we will get Fire Nova. Fire Nova is a huge radius of burn damage and fire damage. And then also it applies impaired aim. So really, really nice, quick application of fire and burn damage, and makes them impaired. So that's our big AoE Elementalist build. This is a very quick and easy build to understand. It doesn't require a lot of gear. You just need to multiply your elemental damages. So hopefully you guys learned something. That's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!